Now, once we are into our first tutorial mode, you can click to start. As you can see, we have a little avatar here to guide you on your journey, and the red square is where we will be beginning. So now, we will have this explain what we are doing in this program, just that we're going to be teaching about linear transformations via these 6 coefficients. So we will press continue to start the journey. So with every single coefficient, we will be doing a positive and a negative value. We figured we would start with C just because it's one of the easiest to understand since it's only addition going to the right or left, whether that be a positive or negative value. And as you can see, every single previous square will be blue and the current square will be red. So once we actually do this, you can see that the new square is red and the previous is blue. And now our little avatar is explaining what has happened to your square. We do want to prevent them from doing one thing, and that is having this land on a 0. So if we try to do a negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you will see that we do not allow them to do that, just because we want to make sure that in the future coefficients they will actually be able to see change. If it lands on 0, 0 or on any axis really, it could prevent future coefficients from having an effect on the point, and we want the user to be able to see all transformations. So I'm going to change this a little bit more negative, and as you can see, we move on to the next square, and we're going to do this with every single coefficient, going through and walking them through. I will go through that now. All right, once we are done explaining every single coefficient, they can have free range. So we allow them to do anything with the coefficients, and as you can see, it will move. Once they are satisfied, they will press next level, and that will bring them onto the level 2 of the tutorial.
Hi, I'm Josh, and I'm here to present the second part of our tutorial. I'm going to kind of skip through quickly because we're kind of rushed on time, but this is about iterative function system, which is what a Barnsley fern is. And what this part of the tutorial does is it just goes through the iterative functions of the Barnsley fern. It deselects certain parts and updates the values and shows you about like, oh, what each color does, what each one of these functions does. And Kirby goes through and explains all of this for us. Since I'm limited on time, I'm kind of skipping through, but totally go back and read this. There's also mute inference, depending if you slightly adjust these values that Kirby talks about, and you can get it like vertical leaning depending on how you adjust these values. But yeah, and then it goes into the sandbox, and you can just normally play with it as. I'm going to hand it over.
Alright, hello and welcome to the sandbox mode for Between Two Ferns. So you can see if we hit our draw button here, we can generate our standard fern. We also allow you to adjust the drawing speed, so you can slow that way down so you can watch it more, or you can speed it back up. We also let you adjust the maximum number of iterations, so if you'd like to generate a less dense fern, you can do that. The background color can also be adjusted, so if you want a hot pink background, you're welcome to do that. Change that back. We also let you adjust the width and height of the image, so you can generate a nice fat fern if you want to. Let's see. We also let you change these vertical and horizontal max values that adjust the way the fern scales so you can fit it onto the canvas after you've made some changes. So like if you adjust these transform values up here, for instance, let's adjust this here, which should make the fern lean over more. It doesn't, well, that was maybe a little far. You can make it lean over and it doesn't fit, but if you squish it way down, you can get it to stay on the canvas. So you can adjust all these values. You can also remove transforms, which can have some interesting effects. You can see you can just completely remove one side of it, and you can also add transforms, which can have pretty unpredictable effects. It can take a minute to find forms that work. You can see I just generated this kind of straight line here, which isn't the most interesting thing in the world. And you can also change the colors of the individual transforms so that you can see which actual pixels come from which transform. So this transform we just added generates this line here. And it's actually this 85% transformation here that is what causes everything above the base to appear. So if I change these values, you can see these smaller transforms create these values, and then this 85% transform like duplicates them up as you go.
So if I begin my program and full screen it, we have this little graphic that we came up this little graphic that we came up with right here. Now, if I press sandbox mode, it segments into 10 separate squares, which all are their own dynamic bodies. They exist in a world with Earth-like gravity, and they have air friction as well as their own mass. And so they kind of fall in a simulated physical way.
Right. For my part of this video, I'll be demonstrating the save and load function of our application. First, we'll start by changing the values and just drawing a fern really quickly. Change some colors too. And then we'll go ahead and save this. We'll save it as a BTF file, which is like a JSON format. And now that that's saved, we can hit load and load another one. This is another file with different attributes. And as you can see, it loaded different colors, and we can draw with it, of course. And we can go back and load our old file. And as you can see, colors have been reset as well as the values.
Now, if I press export, and then let's give it a spot right here next to Blorbo and Tester. Now I have this exported as a PNG. So I can send this to my grandma, my mom, whoever, and show them and be like, hey, look at this thing I made. So this has been some of the aspects of our program. I thank you very much for watching.